Well, hello there. I just want to make a quick video. I won't keep you for long. I guess in the topic of cloning centers, MK Ultra program, Super Soldier program type stuff, but not really, sort of. More, I guess, about the predictive programming you see in cinema and TV. You know, much less shows today like Westworld, or even like Altered Carbon, where they all but explain how the animal-human hybrid program works and how consciousness transferring works through cyber stacks. But yeah, the cloning centers topic, MK Ultra, I don't even know what to think of it anymore. Back in the day, before Cooties 19, I was right sucked into this topic, and I got my reasons for that, whatnot, but there are proofs for things like that. Or even I've noticed a lot of predictive programming in the last Hulk run by Al Ewing. Nowadays, I'm not so obsessed with this topic anymore. It's just that I was replaying an old game. I was replaying Final Fantasy VII, the original one from like almost 30 years ago now, before half of this industrial cyber technology even existed, much less the internet. And so this new game, which is pretty sweet, Final Fantasy Integrate that I got, but I wanted to play the old one just to see what's different and whatnot, and relive the old one. And when I did, I found this mod to clean it up, the graphics, to clean it up quite a bit. As you'll see, if you've ever played it before, you'll notice right away. But yeah, people talk of all this predictive programming like it's not real, much less the idea of all this celebrity cloning. I don't know what to think of it anymore, really, the whole topic. But I know there's something similar to what some of the extremists are saying is happening. Like, as far as celebrity cloning, imagine easily enough if they took an embryo and duplicated an embryo 20 times, which is cloning, but it's still a human being, the genome unaltered, and then implant those embryos in 20 different surrogate mums. Those clones, per se, twins, brothers or sisters, whatever's cloned, they're going to all be raised in different families, each demanding their own individuality, as such, right? People, born, raised. Now, duplicate cloning is a completely different thing, where supposedly they don't even have belly buttons. I don't know. And then REM transferring, the idea that they're pulling your soul out of your body, that's nonsense. Your soul never leaves your body. It's your consciousness, which is a byproduct of having a soul in your body, that travels the silver cord, as it were. Some people call it REM downloading, or even like astral projection. The last time I remember even doing that was like grade 8. But yeah, getting to this clip here, and like I says, if you don't like video games, just bear with me, because the proof is in the pudding. Like, as far as something from almost 30 years ago, this is pretty telling. Like, this is pretty telling of fallen angels and Nephilim type stuff, like Rob Skiba used to call the Seed War. But yeah, here we go. In the Shinra Mansion, at that one point in the game where the flashback happens, and Cloud, the trauma that he lived through with his mentor teacher betraying him, killing a bunch of people, destroying his hometown. Well, people say this predictive programming isn't real, but after playing this old 90s game again, I realized how much of it is real. Like it's everywhere, and it's in some of the oldest digital media we've produced. But this story is basically the story of an MK Ultra super soldier who gets, abducted, as it were, after a near-death experience, kidnapped, trauma-based, mind-controlled, and altered by this guy named Hojo. This Hojo character runs the MK Ultra program, the Super Soldier program, for the evil corporation Shinra in this game. But it's basically like an MK Ultra Super Soldier Gnostic resource war. It's the same thing that's happening pretty much right now today in humanity, even with people trying to figure out how many deep underground military bases there are, or where they are, or where the entrances are. But this MK Ultra Super Soldier program, in the game, this Sephiroth character finds out that he's basically a Nephilim with this altered star child, star seed, Genova DNA, and he snaps and tries to kill everything. He actually becomes an Ascended Master at the end of the game, and you gotta stop him. So that's a cool game. You get to destroy a bunch of Nephilim, and you get to destroy a fallen angel retard named Genova. But that also brings me to the point where stuff like Operation Mockingbird, or even like the idea that Luciferians have to drip feed this to us, hiding it in plain sight. But 30 years old, and I mean, you know, you get into this demo a bit here past the intro, and you see all the cloning labs and stuff. Or the idea in this game that this evil corporation made all the monsters and they're covering it up. That this town, when it's destroyed, it releases all these monsters into the world, these Nephilim monsters, animal-human hybrid creatures. And the corporation, of course, covers it up. But then the whole idea of transhumanism versus real life. Some of these towns try to live like real towns and they get sucked into this corporation's nonsense, and some of them get wiped off the map. And like the whole idea of rebellions happening, or the main characters even being freedom fighter eco-terrorists, as it were, against this corporation, because the corporation draining all the resources, lifeblood of the world they live in, is killing the world, literally. Like literally, it would end up causing it to go like Krypton exploding Superman style sideways. But so yeah, the whole corporation resource war, it's a parallel and an analogy to a metaphor, as it were, for our society right now. And while the cabal and the corporations do all this stuff, it's the people who take the blame. They get called useless eaters. They get convinced through media and control that they're useless eaters, and that the population should be reduced, and everyone gets convinced that the population is too much, even though every human on Earth could fit inside of like Florida, the state of Florida, like twice, and have like room to swing their arms around. Every human on Earth. So it's like, if it's like overpopulated where you're at, move. And that's a whole other symbol with this whole Midgar, the city in this game. It's very much like that. Population control agenda 2030. But then, like I says, Sephiroth figures out he's a Nephilim. He snaps, and he wants to take this Jehovah, what's left of his mother's fallen angel, Palladian star child, Anon body, B'nai Ha Elohim, fallen angels. He takes the body and buggers off. But the real villain of the game is the mad scientist Hojo, cloning all this fallen angel DNA into people. It creates the Sephiroth problem in the first place. So after this town here gets destroyed, and as you can see, getting into it a bit here, like Sephiroth just goes nuts and nukes the whole place. He kills the main character, Cloud's girlfriend's dad. Well, there's a mouthful, but all this murder and mayhem and all that, and that's how Cloud and Tifa, the main characters, they end up getting together or whatever, their lives intertwined by this one event. But after Sephiroth destroys the town and bucks off with the Jehovah body, you realize in the game that it wasn't actually him, that he's been in the Northern Crater in this Mako ice crystal stuff for like the whole time. And he can project his consciousness into anyone with Jehovah DNA, Nephilim DNA, and take over their body, which becomes instrumental later with the main character even. Because after this, they cover it all up, of course, like false flag style cover up, destroy the whole town, rebuild the whole town, and Cloud, and at the time the other character, Zack, get captured and experimented on in the Super Soldier program. Cloud somehow finally gets out. I can't remember in the game actually. And when he does, his memories are gone. Kind of like Wolverine and Weapon X, but like MK Ultra style. And Tifa ends up finding him in the Midgar city near the rail station. And that's pretty much where the game starts, you know. He helps them with their little avalanche thing. But yeah, cover-ups, that's no big piece of new news. I mean, they've been doing this for a while, since the church hearing committees in 1971 when the whole MK Ultra program went underground. Guys like my grandpa, loose ends, who knows if some of them, how many of them were clipped. People at the end after Operation Paperclip, after that was over, and most of the people involved weren't useful anymore, so to speak. Around the 70s, 1977, it all went underground. But yeah, hidden in plain sight, these games, for sure. And so even flipping back to my computer program here, my computer, I just thought that was interesting because, yeah, this game, it's pretty popular, and it's, like I said, 30 years old, and here we are still. Most people don't even know this topic is real. So, yeah, I guess that's all I got to say about that. Peace out, baby.